important question here. Maybe we can ask this to ourselves as well. When have you taken a risk, maybe changed direction, or taken a leap of faith? When has your curiosity been greater than your fear and then propelled you forward in your career or maybe in a new business development? Well, most of our real growth, in fact, takes place on the fringes of discomfort, in that corridor of uncertainty. And when we are courageous enough to step into those new spaces and do things a little bit differently.
These are such great questions. Gee, something to think about. Now, our lives are characterized by many crossroad moments, right? Now, moments when we are called to make a decision, yes or no, commit or walk away. Well, this morning we're talking to Nikki Bush, our human potential and parenting expert, about a crossroads moment in her career development and how crossroad moments benefit us all. Interesting stuff.
Oh, this is really interesting because I think a lot of people are going to suddenly look at their own life and think, maybe this is that moment. Maybe this is the time to make that choice. Do I go left? Do I go right? So maybe a good place to start, Nikki, will be with just a definition. So what do you mean when you say a crossroads moment?
Graham, it's really a fork in the road, I guess. And it's when we're facing that, that choice to go left or right. It might be, for example, you're asked if you want to marry somebody. I mean, that's a crossroads moment, isn't it? Or maybe you are ready for a shift at work. Maybe there is a new job on the horizon, a job offer that's come your way. It could be anything that requires that you make a choice. And you know, we don't like making choices because it makes us feel uncomfortable and maybe a little unsure of what we should do. You know, what if we make the wrong decision? And I think that's what gets in the way of maybe us stepping into greatness and becoming bigger than we were before.
Stepping into greatness. I love that. I absolutely love that sentiment as well. But maybe you can give us something a bit more practical. Do you have a personal example maybe you could share with us in Mzansi?
I do, actually. In fact, many people don't realize that I've had 3 careers in my life. Different careers, but linked careers. And I started off in public relations. Then I stepped into direct selling, but most people know me as the speaker and author that I have been for the past 15 years. And in those career transitions, that's actually where we are called to make those choices. And I find for me, and I'm not sure about our viewers, but when it comes to shifting jobs, whether it's within the same organization or stepping out of the company that you work for me, there are 2 key things that I look at. One is my learning curve, and the other one is my earning curve. Now, interestingly, the research tells us that most people don't leave their jobs for the salary. They leave their jobs for very different reasons. And often for me, the shifts have happened when I have become bored, when my learning curve has plateaued. And this is what happened to me when I shifted from public relations into direct selling. Now, direct selling wasn't in my repertoire. It wasn't what I knew how to do. And what happened to me was that I actually was invited to a meeting where they were talking about educational toys and how they impacted on children's learning, and we were talking about maths. And I just got completely blown away by learning through play, as many of our viewers know how passionate I am about that. But this is not where the story ends. I dabbled in that because I wanted to be a better mum. But about a year into being part of the sales team, where I really only bought products for myself and never sold anything to anybody else, my team leader, and it was one of the crack sales teams in the country, said she was emigrating and she wanted me to take over the leadership of the team. Well, that was interesting because this was a very professional team full of educational psychologists, remedial teachers, physiotherapists who specialized in children's issues, you name it. They all knew their stuff in terms of child development. And what did I know? But she said, you're the leader. And I was at that plateau of learning. And I was bored with my public relations consultancy that I was running at the time. And I decided to back myself and take a leap of faith. And I took on this role, which meant going for training, as one has to do in a new job. And there is a very interesting story here. That wasn't the first crossroads, whether to take the job or not. The second crossroads came when I went into the training session for leading this team. And I think that is where the key lessons really are.
So, Nick, that being said, why are these crossroads moments so important for us in order to progress and grow in our lives? Why do we need to feel a little bit uncomfortable sometimes?
You know, all growth happens on the fringes of discomfort. Think of a pond. You're sitting in the middle of the pond. You don't know what's on the edge of the pond. And sometimes we have to push ourselves towards the edge of the pond to a place that is unfamiliar. So I land up going to this area director training, a full day of leadership training with the CEO. And I was absolutely blown away by the potential of what I could do with this team, not just to take them to the top sales-wise, but how I could change the narrative in the country around learning through play. And I was overwhelmed by the end of the day with such excitement, so many ideas. And of course, as with any new job, I had to learn lots of new processes and procedures. I got into my car at the end. I was in this underground parking, and I sat there dumbfounded. And then I started to cry because I was so overwhelmed. And I knew in that instance that I had two options. This is one of those crossroads moments. I had to do some deep soul searching. And for 15 minutes, I sat there going, I have two options here. If I drive out of this garage right now, I will never do this job. I will go back to my very comfortable PR consultancy where I'm earning very nicely. Otherwise, the other option is I can go upstairs, knock on the CEO's door, and ask for help. Because all I needed was for somebody to help me isolate my first 3 moves in a new direction. After 15 minutes, I decided my curiosity got the better of my fear. And I decided to be vulnerable enough to go upstairs. And I knocked on her door. She was available. I needed 10 minutes of her time. I promptly burst into tears again, which is so not like me. And she helped me. You know, sometimes we have to ask for help and share our enthusiasm.
And often that creates a mentor dynamic, which I think so many of us, we miss those golden opportunities because we don't ask for help and create that mentorship dynamic. Nikki, please stick around. There is so much more we want to delve into with regards to this very interesting topic. We are talking about those gateway moments in your life that force you to make a big choice. It could be what's standing in the way of you achieving your potential, stepping into greatness.
Yeah, I love that.
As Nikki said, we're going to ask Nikki to stick around, you as well.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, Zanzi. We are asking essential questions right now, none of which are going to do anything other than inspire you. Now, are you at the crossroads with your life? Or maybe you're not sure whether to commit or eject yourself from the situation or opportunity. And what happened to taking a leap of faith, right? Well, we are back. We're discussing all of this morning with our human potential and parenting expert, Nikki Bush, in the building.
Nikki, I think both Ryle and I have been very fiercely examining our own lives now, looking for those crossroads moments, because I think we all want that. Maybe it's been compounded by the last few years of us having had so much time to think about the meaning of our lives and what we want to achieve. I would imagine a lot of people have taken a short left in their careers now and are looking at different angles.
Yeah.
But lay it out for us. What are the kinds of crossroads moments that we will face in our lives?
Graham, there are a number that people are facing right now that I hear about often. One is people selling up their homes in the big smoke in the city and opting for a more quieter life closer to nature, the sea, in smaller towns. Some people even actually selling up everything and deciding to become international nomads, spending 6 months in different countries, and switching countries because we realize we can actually work from anywhere if you do the kind of work that, of course, you can do off a screen. Then it could be moving house, maybe shifting from being in a small apartment or a townhouse into a house. That is a big decision. Once again, it pushes you into a realm that you don't know. Paying off a bond. Can you afford it? What does your family need? What do you have to do to meet those obligations? You know, all of these decisions have a knock-on effect that can change everything in your life and can have both positive and negative impacts depending on how you view things.
I absolutely love that. Now, for me, I see this scenario coming through all the time. We meet these crossroad moments, and it's almost that matter of like, even asking these hypothetical questions, it makes you think, it makes you wonder, and it kind of gets you to the point where you're like, yeah, I want that. But when it comes down to actioning it, when it comes down to actually making the decision, why do we still find it so difficult?
That's where the rubber hits the road, so they say, you know. And I think a lot of the issues that we have around decision making are really centered on what is this going to look like to other people. I think that is a big thing, that we're so worried about what things will look like externally to the world that we forget what's important to us. It needs to feel right for us. It doesn't matter what it looks like to everybody else. So let's get brave. You know, I think that branching off in a new direction can be so refreshing, so exciting. Yes, it will come with its terrifying moments because you've never been here before. But like in my situation where I shifted entire careers from public relations consulting into direct selling, my curiosity actually got the better of my fear. And of course, it was a calculated risk. We have to ask ourselves a lot of questions. That's that soul searching that I was talking about, Graham.
So having gone through this process now and pivoted, if you will, to use the word of the year from last year, what are some of the key take-homes, the lessons that you've learnt that you can share with people facing these crossroads right now?
So I think you have to ask yourself, where are you in your learning curve? Where are you in your earning curve? And what needs to happen for you to lead a full and rich and satisfying life? And sometimes we need to say no, or sometimes we do say no to new opportunities because we're scared of what might happen. But in the process, we need to also say yes to new opportunities to help us to become bigger than we were before. And sometimes we need to expect the best, not the worst. And it really is important that, you know, when we choose new opportunities for ourselves, new possibilities might be revealed because we don't know what's down that track 100%. And that's the other thing that keeps us stuck, is we like to feel in control. When we step into the unknown, we do definitely feel out of control for a while. And you have to remind yourself that that's okay. And I think that it is so important to buy into the law of unintended consequences. When you choose a new path, newness will follow, and it might not be what you expect. And I know for sure that I would not be doing this work as a speaker and author today had I not switched careers way back then from public relations into direct selling, which launched me into parenting. It was all kind of like magical in a way. So much synergy and synchronicity. So if you're looking for some excitement and newness in your life, you may need to take a new path.
Nikki, you've been an absolute pleasure to chat to. And also, I think I'm feeling grateful for you reaching your crossroad moment in your life. And speaking of it, you've just become an absolute incredible resource when it comes to future-proofing yourself. And even when we look at some of the resources you have, which adds to the fact that you also have future-proofing your child too. So from you, our human potential and parenting expert, Nikki Bush, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. I cannot wait for us and the rest of Mzansi to liberate ourselves and step into our greatness. I love that.
Thanks, guys. Look forward to seeing you next week.